I'm Lauren, and I'm learning all of the stitches in the Royal School of Needlework Book of Embroidery, so you can too. And today we're going to work on double Brussels stitch. This is going to be a surface level weaving stitch, so I'm going to map out a square that's roughly 2 by 2 inches, and then once my sides are complete, I'm going to go back and mark a notch at each 1/8 of an inch marked on the ruler. And the distance of your markings will determine how wide the actual stitch will be later on once it's finished. Now I'm going to quickly outline everything with back stitch, and then I'm going to come up at the bottom of the top stitch on the left hand side of my square and push my needle through and underneath that first stitch on the top line of my square. We're basically looping the thread to create a little knot, and we're going to do it a second time on that same top stitch. And this is what makes it a double Brussels. So now skipping a top stitch, I'm going to go to the third stitch and repeat our double loops. It's also important to notice that as I am moving down the line from left to right, the threaded part of my needle is always on the right side, and I'm always tucking my loop under the needle before I pull all the way through. Now to start my next row, I'm going to whip the stitch twice. The first time through the top stitch on my right hand side, the second time on the second stitch going under. Now I'm going to use the loose thread between my previous 2 knots, and that's going to replace as the anchor thread for my next 2 Brussels stitch, now heading in the opposite direction. I've also flipped the side of where my thread tail is, so that tail will always be on the left side when I'm moving from right to left on the line. And this is also why we skip a space, so that you have enough room in between the knots to create those new anchor points as you're moving across. It's so small to film, but when you're doing it in real life, you can actually tell the difference of where you need to anchor pretty easily. Also, before I forget to mention, this is 3 strands of DMC 10, which I never get to use, so wanted this fun lime color. And now that we're done with that row, we're going to do the same whip stitch, first by going under the second stitch, and then again under the third stitch, but with the needle going right to left and always underneath our thread tail. And just like before, now we have a new place to start our next anchor point, and we'll go back down the line with our double Brussels. Now all that's left is to repeat until we're all filled in. Now to finish the last row of my weave, I'm going to do my last whip stitch. Both times are under the same back stitch. I will skip a stitch, and then now connecting my loops with my weaved anchor point, and then also that bottom back stitch as well. I actually felt like this was the most satisfying part, since you can see everything get a little bit more stretched out and even as you go down the line and connecting all of your little points to the back stitch in the fabric. And then we're done. This is definitely giving like macrame potted plant vibes, so maybe I'll have to test that. But as always, if you're interested in the book or need more supplies, everything is in my bio.